Let's finish the introduction to the critical reading bootcamp by discussing the core strategy. And now this core strategy applies to both sentence completions and passages. And that should make sense. When we're critical reading, whether it's a sentence or a whole passage, it's the same kind of activity. So the core strategy, first, come up with your own answer, and then eliminate based off of the answer that you come up with yourself. Now, why do we want to come up with our own answer first? And the main reason is to avoid the trap answers that they're going to lay for us. If you, whether sentence completions or passages, if you read the passage or the sentence and the question, and then you go right to the choices and you start plugging them in and trying to make them work and see which fits, it's not necessarily you're going to get them always wrong, but you're more likely to fall into those traps because you're going to play games like verbal gymnastics. You're going to try to squeeze the word, if it's a sentence completion, really change the word and fit it into the blank, even if it doesn't really fit. And for confirmation bias, that's this idea that if we think something is true, we only look for evidence to confirm it and we ignore that which denies it. And for the critical reading passages section, if we like D, if we're not careful, we will look for reasons to pick D and not really ignore the fact that, oh, well, actually, this makes D wrong and this makes D wrong. So instead, we want to read the passage or the sentence first, come up with our own answer, and then try to eliminate. Now, it doesn't mean you're always going to get the exact answer. What matters is the process, the activity. And most of the time, frankly, this is something we do. We're just doing it unconsciously. The method here is to bring that out, right? When we read a passage, we're kind of unconsciously figuring out what it's saying. All I'm asking you to do is just make it explicit. Bring it out. And when I mean eliminate, I actually mean crossing off answer choices with your pencil. This is the critical activity you must do in order to do well in the critical reading section. It's actually cross off the choices. So you can come up with your own method, but my method, which you can use, is if it's wrong, I'll cross it out. If it's weak or if it's something I'm not quite sure on, I'm not really comfortable with, but I'll keep it anyway, I'll put a squiggly next to it. Of course, if it's right, I'll circle it. And in the meantime, you always want to check all five. So generally what I'll do is I'll put a check next to it, I'll check the other two, then I'll get rid of B, and I'll keep C. So that is going to be, you really want to focus on this. When you go through a critical reading section, you should end with your page littered with X marks and circles and everything, because that's going to show that it's a physical trace, a physical artifact, that you're actually doing the method and you're working and you're thinking properly. And again, remember like what we said in the practice videos, understanding wrong answer choices is as important as understanding correct ones. And that's what we're going to be focusing on. Not just what's right, but why the choices we're looking at are wrong and how we can support that with evidence from the text. Okay, let's dive into the next video.